The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign, trusted by over 500 NFL players for their winning smiles. And broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your host, Nicole Hutchison.
Happy Tuesday, Cowboys Nation. Welcome into Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign here in the SWBC studio. I'm Nicole Hutchison. Glad to be back with y'all. Aisha Morris, and we got Brianna Aldridge as well in the studio. We're missing Jess Navarez. Hopefully she feels better and can be back next week. But ladies, it feels good to be back. How y'all feeling? Y'all good?
Just welcome back. Welcome back. It's good to see you at the table.
Yes. Y'all too.
You were missed. Draft week. Big week. Get to figure out who our Nuggets are going to be. Happy draft week.
Hello.
All the speculation can go away, and we'll just know for sure who's who and who's doing what. So that's always rewarding.
We got a chance to hear from the new head coach, Brian Schottenheimer, Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, Will McClay as well. And they had a lot of great things to say, ranging from kind of weighing needs to best player available, assessing the outside free agents and how they kind of feel confident heading into the draft. They also talked about the quarterback position, and Jerry Jones made it clear Dak is the guy, straight like that. The goal for the 12th pick, there were just so many topics, so many questions being asked, but I want to hear from you two ladies of just what do you feel like the biggest takeaway from that press conference was? I'll start with you, Bree.
Please go, Bree.
It was a lot to unpack, I will say. Sometimes I would hear a question, and I had more questions after the answer. I don't know how you guys feel about that. But tidbit off what you said, the quarterback question, it's been so floating around, so I was very tuned in. I heard a question I know started with Jane Slater, and that one kind of left me like, what did he just say? And then he kind of clarified it when it was brought up again. And yes, to what you just said, Nicole, he was pretty clear, we just invested a lot of dollars in Dak Prescott, and unfortunately, when you pay the top guy, injuries can happen, and we got the short end of that stick for this season. And I think he was kind of touching on that with the whole idea of the Cowboys are late and they're behind, but he sees it more as being careful and strategic because they just showed you what happens when you pay top dollar and what could happen on the other side. I did find it interesting, though. I don't know about you guys, but when I heard the QB question, I didn't, because I know Jane had mentioned, if Shedeur Sanders is there and just happens to fall to you or 12, and he obviously was very it's very unlikely that we'll make this big move because we had Dak, but I didn't really hear him say that if, this great quarterback is there, that they wouldn't take it. I don't know. Did I take that differently?
He talked about injuries.
Yes.
I think one of the biggest takeaways, to piggyback off of you, is they are cautious.
Yeah.
It's a lot of caution in their tone when it comes to signing players and things like that. And scared money don't make no money. But that's one of the biggest takeaways I took from the whole thing. You can finish your point, Bree.
No, I just want, because I was like, did I read that? But I think that's what it was. What you just hit it right on the nose, was they're being very cautious. I also, we've talked about it. They've made a lot more moves, even though they're not splashes in free agency. And Steven was just, kind of stood on business with that. I think he felt like, okay, we did all these moves, made a lot better moves. Credit to us for this season, how we moved. Now in the draft, we have a little bit more breathing room or confidence when you're talking about best player available rather than addressing maybe a need or depth or however. So it sounds like they're going in pretty confident. And then also the question about having, I know in the beginning, the Schottenheimer hire wasn't the sexy hire, but I think now when we're talking about the draft, it's kind of if we're looking at a positive, this is someone has a lot of familiarity of what this team can do, especially when you're talking about the offense. I know there's a couple wide receivers that are sitting there that could be available at 12, and he made it pretty clear, hey, speed is what would be great, but that's not going to be the determining factor. I know that's been a lot of questions with some of the wide receivers. So I would say some of my questions have been answered, but still, like I said, some of the answers to the questions just kind of felt like the runaround, if you will. And you just, like Aisha said, you don't know until you know. And I think you messaged me earlier this week and you're like, I can't wait for Thursday to be over.
Yeah.
I'm tired of guessing.
Yeah, I'm absolutely. To answer your question, Nicole, so a few of the things I wrote down is that they really do think they can get an impact player at 12. That's important, whether that be personally from what I am taking from what they're saying. And then obviously, like, they basically tried to say that what they have done in free agency and things like that with the offensive line has nothing to do with what decision they're going to make. I've been very vocal about the fact that I think the Cowboys need to go skill to start out. I mean, investing in a first-round pick for an offensive lineman, and that is a whole nother thing because how many times did we hear it's the person, it's the player.
You didn't hear that a lot.
It's the player.
Yeah.
We can look at the talent, but it's the player. I thought it was little subliminals in there. I think I personally thought that they were saying some stuff without saying some stuff about you can look at the tape, you can look at all that stuff, but they are trying to invest more moving forward in knowing the person and if that player, and also too, do they love football? I mean, it just was interesting to me. And if we're being transparent, if we're being honest here, your last 2 first-round draft picks, that has been a question, unfortunately, through their first couple of years. So that was a big takeaway that I had. And then obviously with the cornerback thing, we know that Stephon Gilmore met with them. Or it was, I don't know if he's in the building today or if he was in the building. And you ladies know, I just know that
I wasn't. He was seen in the building.
He was here. Oh, okay.
I ain't seen him, but this is what John Machota told
Look, I'm looking in the camera. He was strolling around the Star.
Came and got a sandwich at the Star.
Right. Yeah, the training table is that good. That they, are definitely looking at cornerback as, I believe it is a need.
Yeah.
It's a serious need. Obviously, Caitlin Carson coming back. We heard them speak glowingly about him, but we still don't know what he's going to be. The no house guest and being willing to tackle.
Hello.
Baby, we must be in Miami because there was a lot of palm trees and stuff. Like, it was a lot of shade, low-key, subliminal stuff, and then being able to have and play press and things like that. So I took some, like, I took the caution. I could hear the caution in them. I can hear the assertiveness of wanting to make sure they know the players better as people now. Like, I feel like there's more of an emphasis. They brought up NIL. They brought up all the players getting paid and how that ties into, Will McClay talked about how that ties into players' hunger. It was interesting. Shout out to David Moore. We appreciate you for what you have done for the association and the team as well. But, baby,
it kind of goes back to kind of what you.
I'm sorry.
Subliminals, and the going back to the player that they want to be invested in the player as far as these draft prospects, and it's something that Shotty stood out to me is what Shotty said about how do you, and I believe it was Nick Harris's question about how do you value traits over production and kind of weighing that out. And he had just said that, of course, the game film is the number one thing. And sometimes those 40 times can be overlooked. But it was something about the fact that the traits of a player is something is very crucial for guys like Shotty. For Jerry, go ahead, my bad.
I was going to, no, go ahead, continue.
That's something that really stood out to me as far as that. And I love that Jerry Jones brought up the stories just about how, when the 30 visits players came, he had made sure that they called their moms and their dads just to kind of see those type of interactions to see, again, what type of player they're getting. So I thought that was pretty cool to know as well.
And that goes back into how much do they love this game and all of that stuff, their commitment. But to your point about the production, I remember 2 years ago when I sat at the Combine with Will McClay, production is something that is very important to him. And as of late, actually, when you look at the draft, I think that actually Will McClay mentioned it, is that you see a lot more 23, 24-year-olds.
Yeah.
These guys are coming out older. A lot of these guys are opting to stay in college a little bit longer. Also, too, COVID reset the whole way that things are going as far as people's players' eligibility and things like that. So we are seeing players come out older now, and for some positions that is a good thing. I think that quarterback is something that we see that people are excited about when guys have a little bit more time, linebacker, stuff like that. But it's the production in comparison to the traits. From Will McClay's standpoint, from my understanding, it's always been the production.
Yeah.
Because traits are fantastic, but also too, like, in the NFL, you don't got a whole bunch of time to wait and see it. And unfortunately, we are not as much of a development league anymore.
Yeah.
What y'all think about Jerry and Steven just talking about how much input the staff has had? I remember hearing that where Jerry was speaking on Shotty and how he's kind of made sure that these coaches, not that they didn't want to be invested in the whole draft process at all, but he's kind of made an emphasis of making sure these coaches are kind of going to these schools, talking to these guys, and just really staying on top of this process. So what did y'all kind of gather from that?
I would say it's just, I like how, I think for me, looking back when I saw the hire, I was just like, how is this different, right? I felt like I wanted like that splash, exciting hire. But like I said, I think having that familiarity, Shotty is coming in here and he knows what he wants. He's built this staff, and I don't think they're just blowing smoke saying what they're saying. Like, they're like, this is going to be different, and this different is Schottenheimer's way. We know he's a huge locker room guy, and like you had mentioned, that is he's said it over and over. He had to sit down with Bill Jones as well, and I was listening to pieces of it, and he is all about character. And I know obviously you need the skill, like Aisha mentioned, they need to draft for skill, but it doesn't matter. You can we've seen teams be built with a lot of skills, and they don't go nowhere. And that's because what's in the locker room, and it matters, and injuries happen. And now you need someone else to step up. But how is someone going to step up if there's that, player, they didn't play. So now, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's just like the character in the locker room matters. And I think this locker room needs that more than ever right now.
Yeah. With Shotty, I see, not saying that it's different, but I'll say that the emphasis to him is really making sure that everyone feels included, and there's not misunderstanding. I feel like last year there was times that there was miscommunications and things like that. I think that they're trying to mediate there being less miscommunication than being on the same page. Obviously, Will McClay mentioned that the process has been easier, especially with the draft process, as you mentioned, Bree, with Brian Schottenheimer already kind of being in the building. But Brian Schottenheimer he's very meticulous, and he is very detailed. So I feel like he's checking a lot of boxes, and I believe we saw that in the hiring process, the coaching hiring process. When you look at the gentleman that they brought in specifically on the offensive side, there is a cohesion when you talk about emphasizing the run game, being creative in the run game, emphasizing offensive line play, and that they have a plan. So I'm just happy that there's some level of a plan, and it seems like they're on the same page. I mean, I know we talked about the Mavericks and some other random miscellaneous topics.
Jay-Z.
But what I
learned a lot.
I did.
What?
Yeah. He talked about Jay-Z and how, the whole
least 5 minutes.
contract with Des Bryant and how it was a lot.
Jay-Z. So when he was talking about Jay-Z, he talking about like the Jay-Z?
I don't know one Jay-Z, girl.
Get away from me. I thought it was short for something.
He really likes
That's
him.
what he was saying.
And he got his phone number.
That part.
That's on brand.
Hold on. He was trying to tie in the fact that the whole Micah Parsons contract thing, and saying that he likes to go to the source. He likes to deal with the players because, no, it's not demeaning as far as not dealing with the agents or attorneys. It's more so of the players are in the building every single day. The agents are not in the building every single day.
Yeah.
So when guys are missing meetings, when guys are not doing what they're supposed to do, you can't pick up the agent and say, hey, your player's not doing what he's supposed to do, because that ain't going to hold no weight. Because he said Jay-Z was nowhere to be found when it came to Des Bryant missing meetings.
Screaming. But another thing, too, that I did take away from the conversation when they started talking about the Micah contract and all that stuff. First of all, I say this with the utmost respect. paying your quarterback is not cap suicide. It's not. It's not. We've seen it done in for other teams. I understand the sentiment and understanding that it does make a difference financially in how you have to navigate things.
Yes.
Maybe just get better at navigating it. I just don't think that I don't like hearing that as a reason to be, cautious about free agency and things like that. That is how teams are being built right now in the NFL, and so it was interesting. It was interesting. They sound very cautious.
They have a plan. I wish I knew what it was. The Micah thing stood out to me because we talked about it so many times. At the end of this season, they're not winning. And Micah's still like, I want to be here. I don't need to be he literally said, I quote, I do not need to be a $40 million man at that time, right? That's a lot has changed in this offseason. People have got big contracts. But the thing that stood out to me was when Steven said, Micah has a number, we have a number, and we're not there. And that was very clear to me. And that was probably the most clarity I've gotten on the last couple weeks. And you kind of already knew, right? The market has changed, and that's what happens when you wait. Going back to caution, I know why the Cowboys, it seems like they do what they do, right? They don't want to invest whatever. But my thing is, when Steven had mentioned today, you get about 5 or 6 players that you pay top dollar. So we want to be cautious on who we give it to, because you only get 5 or 6 players that you can really pay top dollar and make. That's what you're surrounding your team around. Well, the issue I have is, Micah Parsons is this team. You have to pay him. So you be as cautious as you want in that. You're just letting the price go up.
Yeah, and I think some of that comes from, again, like when you talk about the 5 or 6 players, who are the 5 or 6 players that the Cowboys have paid top dollar to as of late?
Dak?
I would say Terrence still got paid after his ACL, which was kind of weird, but do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. Pay Dak. He dealt with injury. CD is dealt with some injuries last year, played through them.
Yep.
Still dealt with some injuries. Trayvon Diggs, we don't even know we're going to see him suit up again. So it seems like they're kind of like waiting. It doesn't correlate to me when it comes to Micah, like you're saying. Like it doesn't correlate to me when it comes to Micah, but the caution that they're having is, it seems like, well, we're nervous to pay players because what if they get hurt? And that is football.
Facts. That's the problem.
That's not avoid. It's not something you can avoid. Like, you have to, and also too, we have to remember that contracts are not for what players do in the future. It is for what they have done.
Yep.
So it doesn't make any sense to me with them being like mentioning the injuries. That was something that was brought up multiple times today. Like, what if this guy gets hurt? What if this guy gets hurt? What if this guy gets hurt? People gonna get hurt, honey. Yeah. And they trying to push the season to more games. Like, that's something that's gonna happen. So how do you supplement that with having depth? And that's kind of where we are right now.
I want to take a quick break real quick. And I want, since we thrown around the word cautious, think about this question right here. Can the Cowboys afford to be cautious with the 12th overall pick in this draft? We'll be right back with more Girls Talk, Boys Talk.
How do you tell the world about all the great gifts in the Yeti store? Let her rip, Troy.
All right, folks, let's get started with the Yeti French Press. Enjoy coffee that stays hot for hours in a French press. 34 ounce for you, 6'4" for the cruise, the Yeti French Press. Up next, waterproof bags. Bags waterproof. Submersible waterproof doubles. Waterproof bags. World's mostly water, so get a waterproof Yeti bag. Do I smell something cooking? Oh, new cast iron skillets made to be passed down like Mama's recipes. Take your steak, cornbread, cobbler's pot pie, and potatoes next level with 3 sizes of Yeti cast iron skillets.
Gear, gifts, and product experts. Visit the Yeti store on McKinney Street and at South Lake Town Square today.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
When you're on the field, you know what it takes to lead your team and play with confidence. But that confidence shouldn't just stop at game time. It should follow you off the field, too. Join over 500 NFL players who trust Invisalign, the #1 doctor-recommended clear aligner brand. Do it for confidence on and off the field. Do it for you. Ready to take the first step towards a smile you'll love? Don't wait. Visit Invisalign.com/NFL and find a doctor near you today. Transform your smile and take your confidence to the next level, both on the field and off.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
DCC On Tour. Get excited for the most dazzling DCC experience yet. Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders On Tour is coming to a theater near you. Witness live performances, enjoy an on-stage Q&A session, and even be a part of a live audition. If you are in Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, Midland, or El Paso, mark your calendar. For dates and tickets, visit DallasCowboysCheerleaders.com/tour.
They going on tour? That's crazy.
That's unique.
nice.
This sound lit, to be honest.
We should go on tour.
Should we?
What would that look like?
Entertaining.
It really would. It really would. All right. See?
Y'all want me to break down?
Absolutely.
Oh, please.
I knew it.
Please. I would pay
I've been
good money for that.
I've been saving it
For what?
for a time such as this.
On tour. Maybe we should drop a mixtape first.
Ooh. I got bars for you. Like,
We got the
playing.
poetry just not here. We got the poetry girl here. I know she can turn some lyrics.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Damn.
All right, ladies. Well, we talked about, we touched on it a little bit about just how the team feels as far as heading into this draft. So far, they feel confident because they have addressed a lot of needs in the offseason with free agents. They've signed 12 outside free agents to the team, but there's some talks and reports about the possibility of trading back for more draft capital. But as of right now, the Cowboys have the 12th pick in the draft. But y'all talked about them being cautious earlier in this press conference. So I do have to pose the question of, can they afford to be cautious in this draft when it comes to this 12th pick in the draft? Free?
I
Or
guess
Aisha?
I'll start and
Gotcha.
say no. I think they need somebody,
Nah.
whoever they take, that can make an impact ahora, right now. Right now.
Spanish is
We don't want to talk about, I'm getting bilingual here. I don't want to talk about development. I mean, we know it's a part of the game, but not developing to the point where they can't step on the field and make impact players. So I know they got their boards. I think Steven mentioned the hardest part is, sticking to your board. Even when you got that spicy name that's coming to, stick to the Cowboys board. You paying all these people to do this all off season, stick to your board, and hopefully everybody watching in can have confidence in that board. But yeah, they need an impact player. Like, it's time to win right now. Every other team in the division is getting their life together, and the Cowboys are just stagnant, and that's just the facts.
Yeah, they can't afford it also too because their last two drafts have not been the best when it comes to production and immediate impact and things like that. And that's something you got to be honest about. I understand putting on a happy face and finger waving and stuff, but at the same time, like, I think Jerry mentioned today, like, you were one of the best drafting teams in the NFL. Are we in the present? Because in the present, your last two draft classes have given you very little. So it does put a lot of pressure on you to go into this draft and get immediate impact from your first, second, third, and maybe your fourth round pick. And that's also too why fans have been so stressed about the lack of movement in free agency and things like that, and the way that they have attacked free agency, because you would not have to do that if you didn't have so many questions with the development or lack thereof from some of the players that you have taken in the first, second, and third round. And that even includes Demarion Overshown, who is coming back from injury, who is a bona fide star. I mean, from your first 3 rounds in the last two draft picks, you have gotten very little production. That has hurt you, and it trickles down, and now you're in this position. So to answer your question, absolutely not.
So then are you selecting the 12th pick for best player available, or trading back? Sorry.
It depends on what it looks like. With the quarterbacks in this draft, I think that's the thing about draft day, and that's why I hate mock drafts. I'm sorry, y'all. Yeah. I know that's y'all jam. I can't get jiggy to it.
Seen so many.
I cannot stand them because there is no real way to know what's going to happen on that night.
Yeah.
And if there is an opportunity for some trade backs, the Cowboys did lose. They don't have a 4th round pick in this draft, and I think, as always, the 4th round pick is very rich. It's very rich. This draft class with running back, and so, there's going to be people there. Can you find an opportunity to try to get something extra, whatever the case may be? They surprised us last year with going and getting Cooper Beebe, whatever. Somebody do something. I hope that they are adamant in what they see, but I think obviously the quarterbacks are going to have a lot to say about how the board falls this year, moving forward.
Yeah, I'm really interested. This quarterback class is.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I don't think it's as bad of a class as what people try to make it seem like, but it's just it's not flashy in the way that some of these other ones have been, I guess you want to say.
That's fair. You said you would go running back, 12th pick. Did I?
Skill
Okay.
position. I don't care what it is.
Okay.
I don't care what it is. Do it cool, whatever you do.
Skill position. Can you afford? Now, there's conversation about them possibly getting a corner that early.
Yeah.
How do you ladies feel about that?
I wouldn't mind going cornerback
that early.
When you talk about just the depth at that position,
Ooh.
you don't, like you mentioned, you don't know when Trayvon Diggs is coming back. You got Jaylen Carson, as of right now, Amani Aruwariye, of course, but you have Kaiir Elam, who they signed in the offseason. You don't really know what you're getting out of him. But possibly if he's a new system, maybe he could give you a little bit more production. But that cornerback room is a little
suspicious. But I doubt. I think when the Cowboys' way, when I think it's their off-season moves is kind of their way of putting a Band-Aid on what they see. So I don't feel like the corners. I think that's why they've gone so heavy with making some signings from free agency when we're talking about the O-line room, because I don't think they want that to go. That's not what they want to invest in early this year. In my eyes, it's a spicy offensive move. That's just how I see it.
I pray it's a spicy offensive
That's just how I feel like they see what we see last year.
Yeah.
I've said it too many times. It was boring to watch. The offense was boring. And that's got to eat at Shotty, who was here, a part of that. We don't know how involved. We talk about that all the time. But it's got to eat at you a little bit.
No, go ask.
Do you feel like this wide receiver class or cornerback class is a little bit more deeper, where you can take maybe more of a chance on selecting a cornerback in the 2nd, 3rd round?
Yeah, that's where I would do it at.
Okay.
But that wide receiver, baby, I'm going to need you to go to the first.
Okay.
I'm going to need you to go to the first. Now, there are some gentlemen that I think are going to be there, like, in the 2nd, like Jalen Royals and some of those gentlemen. But, like, if you have the opportunity, go get a guy that can beat people against press and threaten the defense and open up this offense. Lord have mercy. Like, do something.
Separate.
And please. And the thing is also too is I'm tired of y'all. And the thing that Jerry, going back to the presser, Jerry started talking about Saquon and what he's done for Philly, and he did what a lot of people did and kind of attributed a lot of the success. Like, yes, Saquon's special, but that offensive line is that good also too. But baby, a good running back will make an offensive line look better than what they are as well.
That's fair.
It goes both ways. And also, too, scheme. You got a guy in Clayton Adams in here that can make something out of nothing. I always thought that James Conner was a formidable running back, but with the Cardinals, in their play style and the way that they were able to run the ball, it gave him a level of explosion because of scheme. I think it all ties into it, but don't tell me a running back don't make an offensive line look better than what it is in real life.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Since we're on the other I also want to ask this, since this is a hot topic for today, Stephon Gilmore being back at the building. If he were to be back in Dallas, thoughts? What could he do for this roster?
Thank you, Jesus, hallelujah. He should have never left.
Adam Scheffler already shut that down, though.
Yeah.
He already shut it down?
Yeah.
We can dream.
You know what? With respect.
It's fine.
They literally love, like, I feel like every time there's like a little wind of a player, maybe like all the media be like,
He came to get a snack. I'm trying to tell you.
it's gonna be a no for me, dog. I think it would be very wise of the Cowboys to get him back in here. Obviously, he's a little he's still aging, but he's interesting to me because he seemed like Curry to me. Like he just it's not him aging is not changing his play. He had one of his best years again with Minnesota last year. Like clearly this is someone invested in his body. He's reliable. He had the injury at the end of the season, you know, in the playoffs, but I don't know. I would do it because you need depth and you need mentorship in that room.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody.
Duran's the oldest one in that room. No, really? Kyer is.
It's probably Kyer.
Yeah.
And he's still trying to figure out himself. Yeah. He's still figuring out things.
But that's the
well.
crazy part when you mentioned it earlier, like Kyer's 24 years old, right? But so can some of these people come straight out of the draft. I think that's what makes the draft so interesting.
It's different. Yeah, I please just do it, y'all. He probably only gonna want like $5 and a hamburger.
Stop.
Like just sign him. What is the
$5 and a hamburger is crazy. That's like a Whataburger meal.
But you know, actually, now you know it got expensive out here.
Don't get
You're right.
You taxing these days. I know. Look, you taxing these days. It's worth it. It's worth it. But in regard to Stephon Gilmore too, I know that we see this often. Is that a lot of the older free agent veterans will wait.
Yeah.
Until training camps or the end or whatever. So maybe when he was in here, he was getting a snacky and being like, "Y'all gonna call me? All right, I'm just gonna wait. Just make sure make sure my phone ain't on D&D, boss." Since all right, I'm stopped.
All right, we're gonna take our Girls Talk, Boys Talk, and be more draft talk coming up right after the break. We'll be right back.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
When you're on the field, you know what it takes to lead your team and play with confidence. But that confidence shouldn't just stop at game time. It should follow you off the field, too. Join over 500 NFL players who trust Invisalign, the #1 doctor-recommended clear aligner brand. Do it for confidence on and off the field. Do it for you. Ready to take the first step towards a smile you'll love? Don't wait. Visit Invisalign.com/NFL and find a doctor near you today. Transform your smile and take your confidence to the next level, both on the field and off.
How do you tell the world about all the great gifts in the Yeti store? Let her rip, Troy.
All right, folks, let's get started with the Yeti French Press. Enjoy Calvin. This day's hot for hours in a French press. 34 ounce for you, 6'4" for the cruise. The Yeti French Press. Next, waterproof bags. Bags waterproof. Submersible waterproof doubles. Waterproof bags. World's mostly water, so get a waterproof Yeti bag. Do I smell something cooking? Oh, new cast iron skillets made to be passed down like Mama's recipes. Take a steak, cornbread, cobbler's pot pie, and potatoes next level with 3 sizes of Yeti cast iron skillets.
Gear, gifts, and product experts. Visit the Yeti store on McKinney Street and at South Lake Town Square today.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Camps. This this summer, step onto the field with Dallas Cowboys youth football and dance camps presented by Invisalign. Athletes of all skill levels, ages 6 to 16, are invited to learn from former NFL players and the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders at Ford Center at the Star in Frisco. Campers have the chance to learn technical skills and lessons on teamwork. Register before May 19th to save $25. Visit DallasCowboys.com/camps to learn more.
I know y'all love savings. Go ahead.
Got
and
to.
save $25 for that camp. That's a dance camp, right?
I love saving
Is that what it said?
anything. Yeah.
Dance camp?
Yeah, you didn't hear me? Really?
I'm sorry.
Step onto the field. Dallas Cowboys youth football and
Football
dance camps.
dance camp. I'm sorry. My bad.
You get it all
Sorry,
here at the Ford Center.
We
Okay.
do. You do. You absolutely do. All right. Want to pose the question?
Hide your kids, hide your...
You're stupid. All right. Who could be on the hot seat player-wise on this roster if a young draft pick comes in and is hot and ready to work? What, girl?
Nothing hot and ready is killing me.
Hot and ready.
Shout out to Jess for this.
Hot and
yeah.
Little Caesars.
I know.
Oh, I love Little Caesars.
Ew.
Sorry. I love
Not
the
them
red
little,
sticks. The new. Yes. I
little
don't know. If
cuppy things.
There's like three of
Cuppy
them
things
in
is
there.
crazy.
It's disrespectful. But back to the question. I don't even know if this has to do specifically with the draft because I don't know if the Cowboys will go this way. I've covered another team where it did go this way. It was very shocking. But person I think is in the hot seat is Jay Ferguson. Like he's playing on the last year of his contract. He's coming off a not so great year. I know he was injured for a lot of that. It looks like he was playing through injury. But that was somebody going into this season that a lot of people were hyped up about because of the production he had the season before, and it wasn't there. He's got some guys behind him. We know the Cowboys don't like to pay top dollar. And I just think if somebody steps up, I don't know if Fergie Licious, one of my favorites, is somebody who's going to disappear and dwindle.
Interesting.
That's interesting. I think Lunda would fight for that one.
That's interesting. I will say we do have to take into account Jake Ferguson's injuries. Also take into account this goes into the overall production of the offense as it's formulated. You have not had a 2 tight end that can take any pressure off of him. That dictates defense at all. That can sit in 12 personnel and really be a threat. Like you haven't had another threat like that. I know we did see Schoonmaker have some improvements. That's who I think needs to be looking over his shoulder.
Yeah.
That's who I think needs to be paying attention to what's going on because prior to John Stevens even getting injured, we were sitting up here thinking that John Stevens might be the gentleman that comes in as the 2 tight end as well. This tight end class has some guys in the middle rounds that I wouldn't mind, like Luke Lakely out of Iowa, 6'6". We already know how Iowa tight ends get down with the get down. Listen, I would say it would be, personally, I think it would be more Schoonmaker than Ferguson, despite the fact that Ferguson has dealt with some injuries. And then I would say, I'm trying to think, I guess maybe, I don't want to go. I don't want to take nobody off. I guess I would say also, too, maybe Jaylen Tolbert.
Ooh, that was going to be my second.
Yeah.
As much as I think that Jaylen Tolbert is going to be comfortable in Shoddy's system, I do think he is going to continue. I believe he is also in a weird position because of Turpin.
Yep.
Because if they decide to have Turpin as more of a, Swiss Army knife in this Clayton Adams offense, then that does he become the 2? And then with a lot of these receivers as well, you get a receiver and maybe if they double dip in receiver, most receivers coming out have return ability now, dog.
That's fair.
And I understand they just paid Turpin, but they're also looking at him, and they've said that they're looking at him to take a step as a wide receiver. So, kind of to me puts Tolbert in a weird place too, where he's really gonna have to step up this year.
I think mine would be, and I hate to say this because of just his story coming out of the draft. Mine's gonna be Deuce Vaughn, and which is unfortunate just because he hasn't been able to see the field a lot. I mean, he's had hella talent in front of him. Rico Dowdle, of course, last year, even Zeke, Hunter Lipke stepping up. And now with adding 2 outside free agents in Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders, that's a problem.
With the Miles Sanders thing, that's immediately
they basically play alike.
They have a lot of similarities in their style, and that stood out to me immediately as well. So I would agree with you as well. Is that I think that Deuce Vaughn is in a weird place as well. But if we keeping it 100,000, 50 million, like they didn't rule out. I hate it. Ooh, I want to throw up.
You're gonna scare me.
Don't throw up.
They didn't rule out offensive line.
Yeah. The door.
And again, like, I don't think, just quite honestly, we saw Duke Manyweather, who works very closely with a lot of players on the team. He very blatantly said on Twitter this week, someone asked him directly, how do you feel about Tyler Guyton's development? What do you think he's going to bring to the table this year? And he said, hey, yo, that's up to him. That's up to him.
I like that.
And that is a different tune than what Duke has typically spoke about him. He has faith in him, confidence in him. He works with him. But do the Cowboys feel convicted by, what they've seen from him so far? How long is it going to take for us to see if he has improved in that position? Like, I want to be patient with him. I think development's important. I don't want to just give up on him. But if they take a tackle...
That's a message. That's a message right there.
If they take a tackle, it would be
shot
a tiny bit, and that could be because I think Terrence Steele, they look at him different with Clayton Adams' system. Clayton Adams' system wants an athletic, get up the field type guy. It's not super duper power. So Terrence Steele is maybe like a really good fit. I think we'll see him succeed with this. That left tackle position, if they pick up a tackle at any point in this draft, is going to be kind of weird to me, especially since they've invested in the free agency as well. So. Yeah. You got another one?
The other one I was going to say, but I don't really know how to feel about this one only because they lack in depth with this position. I was going to go Mozzie.
I forgot about Mozzie.
Oh, no.
I say this just because of the slow development that
you ain't saying nothing, sister. The way this defensive tackle class is, if they don't see it from him,
it could, and they need something out of him this year, especially with Eberflus's scheme. So
it's necessary. It has to happen. Absolutely. And Walter Nolan is a gentleman out of Ole Miss that there's been little, just about that time you start hearing little whispers, Walter Nolan is a guy that I think the Cowboys are interested in. That could get a little funky too. That could get a little funky too.
Funky.
I want Marshawn Nealon better come to play as well. I know he came off of injury last year, but
Peyton Turner,
we need we need him to come on with it as well. I think he's gonna be all right though. I think he's gonna be all right as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna press. I just hope. I think the wide receiver room is, I saw a lot of maybes and talent in Oxnard. And when we got to the star, it faded away.
Ooh.
And that's just a fact.
Facts.
What you said earlier, Aisha, you thought it was Miami here with all the palm trees shade?
This is a lot of
that in here.
It's getting sunny outside.
But it's draft week. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to remain positive. It's a new
year. Wait. What about the safety room?
They re-signed Marquise Bell.
They re-signed all of them. I was shocked.
Yeah. You got Donovan Wilson, Malik Hooker. I mean, that's a good group right there.
Dang, I wish somebody would have asked. Tater Tots, I should have texted you because I do want to know how this staff views Israel Mukuamu. Because if they view Israel Mukuamu as a corner, as he was drafted, then maybe Stephon Gilmore isn't somebody that they want. Maybe they don't feel as stressed about corner because they believe that Israel can play corner. We've seen him play corner. I believe he's a boundary corner. That's what he was in college. That's what he does. I want to know what this staff feels like about him because I think that will tell us also, too. It'll give us a little bit more certainty about the depth, and I'm saying depth because in the cornerback room right now.
Yeah.
All right,
Lord
ladies.
have mercy.
This has been great. We got about, what's today? Tuesday, Wednesday,
Stressing
Thursday.
myself out.
That's less than 48 hours.
Let's go.
No, a little over
Is that
48
2 more
hours.
sleeps? I just gotta go to bed 2 more times.
Yes.
Okay.
2 more sleeps.
And then we're gonna have a nugget.
Till the
2 nuggets.
till the 2025 NFL Draft. But for Girls Talk, Boys Talk, we're gonna sign off because we'll be back here next week for Nicole Hutchison, Aisha Morrison, Brianna Aldridge, and Jess Navarez, who is out for the day. We'll see y'all back next week.
And our Jazzy.
And our Jazzy. Oh wait. Don't head out yet because our very own producer, Jasmine Marshall, who's been amazing here for all her times in Dallas. I wish she can come back. Or can she show herself? Can we not do that?
Beam comes on camera
do
sometimes.
that?
I think I've
Maybe
seen
not?
Beam do it.
I don't want to.
No, she doesn't want to. That's crazy.
We love you.
But
we
this is
love
our
you.
girl, and we love her. She's been here.
She's been phenomenal. Phenomenal producer, phenomenal person, phenomenal friend. So best of luck to you, girl. Hopefully you have much success. All right. Sad day
Bye-bye.
for all of us.
I'm over it.
We'll see y'all back here next week.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?